From higher orbits, you only need one satellite.
You don't need hundreds, you don't need thousands, you just need one. But for us, putting up one was just the beginning.
We are Astronus.
Our first product, the MicroGeo, connects the unconnected.
The satellites we build are points of national pride.
And each one of them connects millions of people to affordable, low-cost internet.
But our mission doesn't stop with comms.
And it doesn't stop with geo.
We're working with Space Force to bring resiliency to the GPS satellite system.
We're also working to connect and protect astronauts on the moon.
And maybe someday we'll even build a habitat that they'll call home. We're the only company building this today. Why? Because space is hard and high orbits are harder. The radiation environment fries normal hardware in days or even hours. And medium-class rockets can't even get you all the way there.
We had to invent an entirely new class of spacecraft. It took us years, but after countless radiation tests and revisions, we made it happen.
That's why we're ramping up production right here in America.
We've built 5 satellites, sold 12, and plan to launch over 100 satellites by 2030. That's more than the rest of the industry combined.
We are Astronus. We invented low-cost, high-orbit satellites.
We're building the future.
And we're just getting started.
Falcon 9's primary objective today is to launch 4 Astronus satellites to a geosynchronous transfer orbit, or GTO. After liftoff, about a minute into flight, the rocket will hit max Q, or maximum dynamic pressure, where the vehicle is continuing to gain speed as it passes through the thick lower atmosphere. After about 2.5 minutes, Falcon 9 will arrive at its second major flight milestone, main engine cutoff, or MECO. And then immediately following MECO, the first and second stages separate. Following stage separation, the MVAC engine will light during second engine start, or SES-1, on stage 2 to continue carrying the satellites to their intended orbit. A little less than a minute later, the payload fairing will separate, exposing the Astronus satellites to space for the first time. Meanwhile, the first stage will perform an entry burn as it re-enters the atmosphere, slowing down to reduce heat and stress on the vehicle. About 1 minute after the first stage entry burn ends, the second stage will shut down its MVAC engine, known as Second Engine Cutoff 1, or SECO-1. After that, the second stage will coast for about 18 minutes before reigniting its MVAC engine to finalize the orbit for payload deployment.
Falcon 9 tanks are pressing for strong back retract.
Coming up shortly, the transporter erector, also known as the strong back, or TE, as you just heard over the nets, will retract away from Falcon. The TE is the large truss structure you see there standing right next to the rocket. MECO. First, we'll see the clamp arms immediately following the second stage, and then the TE will slowly pull away from the rocket. And so all of that will be coming up in about 15 seconds from now.
Strong back lower has started.
The strongback is designed to transport, raise, and support Falcon 9 at the launch pad using umbilicals or flexible lines to route the vehicle's fluids, power, and telemetry from the ground systems to the rocket and payload until Falcon 9 switches to internal power and clears the pad. You can see those clamp arms have begun to open. Clamp arms are fully open, and we should see the strong back beginning to pull away from the rocket shortly. Now, at this point in the countdown, both the first and second stages are nearly fully loaded with 1 million pounds of rocket-grade kerosene fuel and liquid oxygen. Both the first stage and second stage should finish propellant loading about a minute apart from each other, with the first stage finishing up at around the T-3 minute mark, and the second stage finishing at around the T-2 minute mark.
Stage 1 LOX load is complete.
Good call out there. the first stage is fully loaded with LOX. Now at T-minus 60 seconds, Falcon